28. Time is moving.
And edit. Okay. All right, here we go. So yesterday I kind of had to take a step back. I was hoping to get the tool database and infrastructure built onto the system. As I was building it out, I started to realize some nuanced design things that I needed to implement a little bit better, and a few things that I needed to think about in more detail. One of those being how the user interface is going to be built out. So the database for the tools, it was getting built on the back end, and I actually think it was pretty good. Like what I had was, it was awesome. Actually, I was really happy with it. But how it interfaced with the microcontroller and the user interface on the microcontroller it needed to be thought out more thoroughly and included in the implementation of the backend part. So I spent some time going through and thinking through how I wanted the design of the UI and the menu system and kind of refactoring some of those things. So I got to a place where I've got like my main screen. What do I want on the main screen? What's good for an initial, like what's achievable right now? And then making sure, like thinking through where I want it to be and making sure that it's expandable. And then the next, I've got 5 tabs on my menu across the top, and then what those first couple of tabs should be. Do I have just one tab that's like imaging and then all the imaging options under there and then another tab that's wiping? Or do I have a tools tab where you can go in and select different tools? And what would that look like from a user experience perspective? Like how would I want to interact with it? So I think what I've gotten to is the main screen is going to be just like a quick synopsis of what's going on, the current tool that's running, the process, a high level snapshot of where it's at in that process, and then the total overall time that's been spent time running, and then amount of time left or estimated time left. And then along the bottom, I think I'm going to have 4 or 5 like quick run shortcut buttons. So if you want to run, like you just plug your drives in and hit image, or plug your drives in and hit wipe, or what format or whatever, just like real quick, kind of a one task, one and done. And then eventually those will be customizable, so you can have your own shortcut menu on the home screen. And then the second tab will be the tool queue and what's actually processing, so you can see that in more detail. So you'd be able to go to the second tab and see, here's the stack of tools that are in the queue to be run. And then the third tab is going to be tools themselves that you can select. And I'm just going to start out with, I was going to start out with imaging, wiping, hashing, and formatting. And then I was like, I think it's too much, because as I was digging into what sub-menu options I would want for all of these, it got to be kind of complicated. And so I'm just going to start with hashing, because that doesn't necessarily need a lot of configuration. You would basically I'm going to pick hashing and I'm going to select the drive. So then the sub-menu for that would have the list of source drives, list of destination drives. All of the source drives would be selected, and I'm not going to have destination drives because we're not going to hash destination drives unless you all want that. Let me know. But yeah, so a list of the source drives, and then you can unselect the ones that you don't want hashed, and then it's just going to run and it's going to display the hashes to the screen. So it's not going to output anything yet. I will get to that point, but right now, it's not going to display to the screen. It's going to store it into the database. So that was the thing, is that's a way that I can verify the output, that everything is working, that the tool is running, that the submenu selection is working. So I can have my hashing tool, choose my submenu options, which type of hash do I want it to run on which drive. So it's like if I've got 4 drives connected and I want to hash those drives, do I want multiple hashes for all the drives, or do I want the first drive to be MD5, the second drive to be SHA-1, 256, 512, whatever? Eventually you'll be able to do that. So it's going to be by drive if there are multiple, and you'll be able to assign specific tasks to specific drives. Starting out, it's probably just going to be one and done. But then how does that get stacked in the tool queue? So let's say I've got 4 drives and each one of them is going to get hashed. When it goes into the tool queue, is it going to be one hashing process that it's just going to go through all the drives? Or is it going to be, let's say 4 drives, 4 hashing tasks, and then you'll see that in the queue, like each one of them. And I think that's the way I'm going to go, because I can run all of those in parallel. So instead of having to go 1, 2, 3, it's just going to be I've got 4 drives. I need to hash 4 drives. I've got the processing capacity to do this. Let's do it. Let's go. And it'll do that. The tool database that was built out was pretty awesome. The metrics that were built into it for tracking performance was phenomenal. I had it was tracking CPU usage, memory usage, time started, time ended, duration, and there were a couple other things that I can't remember off the top of my head right now. But it was cool to see, once I get all those stats in, I'm going to have an incredible amount of information detailing out how these tools are performing and running. And then I'll be able to optimize how they run with AI, I'm sure, so that we can maximize max out the capacity of the hardware to get to usable data sooner. So like your tasks will get done in a shorter amount of time if there's multiple tasks, because it will be able to most efficiently run those tasks in parallel, optimize for the system resources and the tasks that are being run. And I will be able to estimate time remaining. So like carving or wiping or whatever else, I will have detailed metrics of drive read speeds, sustain read speeds for different types of drives, and be able to estimate probably pretty accurately over time how much time is remaining. So I'm excited about that. At the end of the day though, because I needed to build in the user interface and integrate it a little bit better, stepping back to get to, because what it did is it created a demo user interface to basically like test the code, and it just blew away all the old user interface. So I had to revert back, and that caused issues. And so I just scrapped the whole thing. And then today I'm going to start over with a new structure, a new plan, and kind of step it through a little bit more intentionally and just make sure that everything works along the way as we build it out. And I'm hoping by the end of the day, we'll actually have something pretty good. So that's where we're at today. That's what I'm gonna be working on. And yeah, let's go.